Demetria, about 45 minutes ago. We are seeing this unedited videotape of the area downtown we're talking about. Clearly some strong winds blew through, knocked down trees, and from time to time we'll take a picture of a building up there, unedited video. There's a photographer wiping the water off his lens. Some of these buildings have hundreds of windows blown out. The Tennessee Performing Arts Center was among them, and there are a number of state offices up there at the top of that. So these strong winds, I mean, it takes a strong wind indeed to blow out those windows. Those windows in those buildings are extremely strong. Reporter Terry Bolger told us in the SunTrust building, people felt the building sway. I had been in that building. That is an extremely strong building. And of course, the engineers build those buildings to withstand strong winds and twisting winds, and that's exactly what happened. WSMV anchor Demetria Kalodimas is on the air with this report. Go ahead, Demetria.
James, I am driving actually right now. I'm at 25th Avenue in Charlotte, heading downtown, and you can really see the path that this thing took. Numerous power lines are snapped in half. The Nashville Cats sports complex, the practice field where they practice, is all twisted and gnarled. The barriers around that. Georgia Pacific, a lumber company that has a significantly big warehouse here, one of the employees told me that has suffered serious damage. I haven't seen it with my own eyes, but this fellow was driving a semi-truck, managed to stop his truck just in time and said he was literally blown into the building, but got inside safely. So quite a bit of extensive damage here on Charlotte Avenue headed toward downtown.
Demetria, you're right there near the Red Cross building. We understand they had some damage. Can you look at it and tell us what kind of damage it had?
I bet you I'm 2 blocks away, and as I said, I'm driving as we speak, so as soon as I get up on it, I'll be glad to tell you, but I'm about 2 blocks away from it.
Demetria, we're looking at a picture right now of a construction crane near the state capitol building that was blown down, a number of trees as well. That was the municipal auditorium in the background, numerous trees blown down. And we will get back to Demetria a little bit later. This is unedited video, was shot just minutes ago by photojournalists. This is just down the hill from the state capitol. Man, the intensity of those winds, those were strong young trees. Those were not old rotten trees ready to fall off. That was some tremendous wind that blew through there. To the right was the municipal auditorium. Clearly somebody's car took a hit, probably from a falling limb. And to my knowledge, no one was inside it, but if they had been, it would not have been good for them. These are pictures made just minutes ago in downtown Nashville. We have a live truck down there to relay this videotape to you. Cecil Whaley now says it appeared it was a single tornado that touched down east of downtown Nashville, then skipped across the city for 3 or 4 miles. The Tennessee Oilers football stadium, which is about a third complete, has been damaged, according to the Associated Press. That's just across the river. So it looks like it hit the ground, it bounced, and it came back down on the east side of the river there. Either the tornado damaged the stadium and project or around it. Well, Nancy, it's not. There's still more happening.
In fact, what we're looking at right now on SkyMax Live Radar, there are plenty of areas, by the way, where there are storms firing up powerfully. And they're it's difficult to keep up with them, I'll tell you that. But the system we're looking at right now is one of the hottest looking ones and one that passed through Nashville. This is what's left of it, and it's still looking pretty healthy. And that's not good for the folks, say Gainsboro area. Here's where this is headed right now. Right now it's in Smith County. It's headed toward Gainsboro, that general area, which is in Jackson County. Right now it's headed for Defeated at 444, Difficult at 445, Donahoe at 447, Kempville at 447, Gladys at 452, Highland at 454, and then it keeps going on toward Liberty at 455, Flynn's Lick at 459, New Salem by 702, Stone by 502, and when I said New Salem I should have said 502, Gainsboro by 503, Antioch, and this is Antioch in the Jackson County area, not the Antioch near Nashville. Antioch at 503, Harmony by 507, Free Will by 508. A very powerful looking storm. It probably lost a little bit of intensity and then regained some strength, and now it's heading from, right now it is in the northern part of Smith County, near Defeated and Difficult in Donahoe, Kempville, Gladys, Highland, and heading toward Gainsborough. The other areas where there are tornado warnings,
A new tornado warning, Nancy, for Dixon County.
a brand new one in effect for Dixon County. Let's go there.
Tornado spotted by the National Radar Service 3 miles east of Waverly, moving east at 45 miles an hour. This is in Dixon County. Dixon, of course, which had a tornado direct hit this morning around 7 o'clock. It's refiring. Weather Service says there is another tornado in that area.
3 miles east of Waverly.
Correct. It's moving east at 45 miles an hour. We tracked a little bit earlier as severe thunderstorms moved to the north of Dixon, and it did move east, and it came on toward Nashville. And let me think now, Nancy, get my chronology straight. Was that the system that came through here and hit us? I believe it was. Nonetheless, it has reformed there out to the west. So you folks out there in Dixon County are now under another tornado watch.
East at 40 miles an hour, you say? That would put it in Dixon. That is headed for Dixon again. This would be a third time for them today if it materializes. We certainly hope it doesn't, but this, you say it starts 3 miles east of Waverly. That is right here. That would put it in McEwen right around 4:49, Tennessee City around 4:58, Donegan Crossing around 5:02, Eno by 5:03, Hortense by 5:05, Pond by 5:05, and eventually on to Dixon.
James, we have information from Bowling Green that that city has been hit by an unconfirmed tornado on the southeast side of Bowling Green. It took the roof off a church at Alvaton, which is south of the city. They have flooding, downed trees, limbs, and trees have caused several Warren County roads to be closed. A fire station roof on Industrial Drive in Bowling Green has been damaged. 2 people are reported injured at Hopkinsville. They're reported in good condition. And a nursing supervisor there says the injuries were minor. Again, a tornado reportedly struck.
Ann Miller, a WSMV anchor, in case you didn't recognize the voice. These are pictures made downtown after a tornado made a hit, almost a direct hit down there.
I want to mention that storm in Waverly we're looking at that just is headed toward Dixon. The National Weather Service estimates that it will reach Sylvia by 5 o'clock, Van Leer by 5, Charlotte by 5:05,
Hold on a second,
and
Nancy.
Cumberland Furnace by 5:05.
Another tornado warning. Can you punch it up there on your
Wayne County.
in Wayne County? Thank you, Dan.
Wayne.
We're going to go to Matt King in just a minute, but let's get this information out first about Wayne County. This is a tornado warning in Wayne County. We were hoping by this time some of these might begin to weaken. They are not. They are strengthening. They are growing in number and size.
This was spotted about 15 miles west of Waynesboro, moving northeast 45 miles per hour. It is expected to be near Waynesboro at 4:55, near Clifton at 5:05 p.m. Again, a tornado warning for Wayne County.
So you folks in Wayne County need to...
Hello, James. I want to tell you what I'm seeing here on Broadway and 5th, downtown. There's a restaurant or bar called The Turf here on Broadway. I can see the second and third floor where there used to be a lot of bricks covering it up. Now I can see the bricks all over the sidewalk, and it's sitting in the back of a Ford pickup truck.
That's the extent of the building now? Is it all piled in the back of that Ford pickup truck?
The building's still standing, but the wall, the face of the second and third floors, it's all on the sidewalk right now. A lot of roofing material all over the street down here on Broadway. I can see windows smashed out on some of the taller buildings here downtown.
We're talking with photojournalist Matt King in downtown Nashville. Matt, earlier we'd heard report of great damage to a building at 1st and Broadway. Are you near there now? Can you tell us?
Seen a building, I don't know the name of it, a little down from the Acme feed store there on 1st. Wall completely down in the street, blocking the road. Police were moving traffic around it.
Well, right across the street from it is the Hard Rock. Are it and the Acme Feed Store both okay, or did they get damaged?
From what I can tell from the outside, the Hard Rock, the painting, the big guitar painting on the side there, a little damage on one of the corners. Other than that, a lot of stuff in the parking lot. Damage, like just debris. I can't really tell what it is.
All right, thanks very much. Matt King, photojournalist, reporting live from downtown Nashville.
We have a
Where we
storm
got a
track
hit.
on that area down in Wayne County, our newest tornado warning. This is close to Savannah, just to the east of Savannah, moving to the northeast. It would reach Thompson Crossroads by 4:52, Olive Hill by 4:54, Bethlehem by 4:56, Porter Ford by 4:57, Clifton Junction by 5:01, Mooney by 5:10. Flatwoods, Waynesboro kind of on the edge of that, and taking a look again at the the National Weather Service's statement on that. They expect it to be near Waynesboro by 4:55 and near Clifton by 5:05.
Channel 4 anchor Dimitri Kalodimos is down at the Red Cross building at about 25th and Charlotte. Dimitri, go ahead, please.
James, we just passed the Red Cross building itself. About 5 significant window panes are out. You can see inside the building people hanging outside. Also, the concrete masonry foundation of the building is buckled and cracked. So very significant force there to the Red Cross building. All along the path of Charlotte Pike headed downtown, we've seen cars that are smashed by trees and debris, probably a dozen cars significantly smashed. And there is that's a building under construction. Sorry, it's hard to discern which buildings are under construction and which ones have been damaged by this storm this afternoon. But the Red Cross building is pretty severely damaged.
Dimitri, do we know if the Red Cross building is still in operation? Are they still providing emergency services as needed?
They've got it cordoned off, and there were several emergency vehicles responding that direction. So perhaps if there are supplies that need to get out of there, or blood that's perishable, I think maybe some of that is underway.
Okay, thank you very much. That's Channel 4 anchor Dimitri Kalodimos. To refresh your memory, or in case you just joined us, Governor Don Sundquist has declared Nashville a disaster area in the wake of this tornado that touched down in downtown Nashville, skipped across the river, and damaged the Oilers stadium under construction. We have been up there. Some of that construction is scaffolding, could easily be blown over.
Cecil Whaley said that it seems it was a single tornado. I don't think they know that for certain yet, but it touched down east of downtown, then skipped across the city for a period of 3 or 4 miles. And again, Sundquist has declared Nashville a disaster area. The tornado hit downtown at about 3:45, and we've heard of quite a bit of damage and certainly traffic problems in downtown.
We have on the radio Marcia, is it Casey? Marcia Casey, he's chief officer at Vanderbilt Hospital. Ms. Casey, what can you tell us in terms of what you've received there in terms of injuries? Go ahead, Marcia Casey.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, please, Marcia. You're on the air.
Vanderbilt got him the casualties. We initiate our mass casualty disaster plan at Vanderbilt. That requires that we notify all available staff and basically prepare the entire institution for victims to be arriving through the emergency department. I'm currently standing in the emergency department drive, and we have had only 2 victims come. We don't really know. It appears that the 100 may have been an overestimation, but we are going to continue our preparation so that we are ready. We're full in our institution, and so we have gone ahead and triaged patients that we will be able to discharge so that we can handle this. Our emergency room is prepared. Our operating room is prepared. So we're ready for whatever should come. As I said, we've only had 2 victims.
Thank you very much. That was Marcia Casey from Vanderbilt Hospital.
James, we have another tornado warning here for eastern Humphreys County in Middle Tennessee. The National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning until 5:20. At 4:46 p.m., spotters indicated a tornado near McEwen in eastern Humphreys County, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. It is expected to be near the Humphreys and Dixon County line by 5 o'clock. And again, you're advised to take all precautions. Again, that's for eastern Humphreys County in Middle Tennessee until 5:20 p.m., a tornado warning.
I want to turn my mic back on and I'll talk.
We've got the...
Hey, tell them to turn my mic back on. Okay, we actually have a picture of the funnel cloud. Somebody tell me where this was shot.
That looks like the TEMA headquarters to me.
I think
James.
somebody needs to punch the play button. I don't believe that's moving.
It's a still.
Oh, this is a still store. Okay, we believe that the dark area in the middle, we are told we think that is the funnel cloud. So you're not seeing the bottom of it because it's blocked with that building. That's the picture shot by WSMV photojournalist Hunter Phillips. Are we trying to get in touch with... Yes, we're trying to get in touch with TEMA. Our communications link there has been interrupted. That looks pretty dangerous down there, Nancy.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, goodness, coming back through here again.
This would make a third time.
It's all over the state. They're having tornado warnings still in western Tennessee and even in the eastern part of the state.
It's everywhere.
In Meigs and Ray counties, severe storms in Sullivan County.
And that's why I say, if you look out your window right now and it looks at all stormy, go ahead and take cover because it's so heavy and it's so frequent. It's difficult to keep track of. Right now, we're seeing another storm flare up here between Bellevue and Channel 4. This looks pretty rocky. I don't see I know there has been a thunderstorm warning for Davidson County.
Channel 4, of course, is on White Bridge Road, just near Interstate 40. Do we have, we don't, okay. I was going to ask if we had Cecil Whaley. We're efforting to get that now. This is videotape made downtown Nashville, building windows blown out. Estimates of 100 people injured by flying debris, but no fatalities that we know of. But considerable damage. A number of buildings downtown have been damaged. The state capitol and the state capitol area has had numbers of buildings with windows blown out. Governor Sundquist has declared Nashville a disaster area.
One man who was near the new football stadium when the storm hit says parts of the stadium were being tossed around like popsicle sticks, and he'd never seen anything else quite like it. So there is damage to the new stadium that's about a third or two-thirds complete now.
And a couple things to tell you about new warnings. There's a new tornado warning for Clay County in Middle Tennessee and Jackson County in Middle Tennessee. I'll go there on SkyMax Live Radar in just a second. But right now I wanted to show you this area in the southwestern portion of Davidson County. I don't believe there's a warning for this right now, but it looks pretty rocky. Folks in the Bellevue area, the Brentwood area, near Channel 4 on White Bridge Road and near the heart of Nashville, need to be on the outlook for another rough storm coming through. Now for Clay County and Jackson counties, that is off to our west near Salina, where we looked at this area a little bit ago. The National Weather Service says Doppler radar has indicated a tornado 9 miles northeast of Gainesboro. Northwest of Gainesboro, that is. And that is right here. And it is moving east at 40 miles an hour. The tornado is expected to be near Midway at 4:55, Butler's Landing at 4:55, Salina at 5 o'clock, Dale Hollow Lake at 5:05. In this area, as in many other areas throughout Middle Tennessee and southern Kentucky right now, you need to be taking shelter immediately. Some other warnings that are still in effect right now: Barron County and Allen County, Kentucky, a tornado warning in effect. Macon County, a tornado warning till 5:25. Trousdale, they have a tornado warning that expires just about right now. Smith County expires at 5:25. Davidson County just expired. We may get a new one here in Davidson County with this new development we're seeing. And there are a few others. Let me scan my list here real quick for the ones who have not yet expired. Humphreys County at 5:20. They still have a tornado warning in Humphreys County till 5:20. In Waynesboro, a tornado warning in Wayne County till 5:30. A tornado warning in Decatur until 5 o'clock, plus the ones we just got in Clay and Jackson County. Those are in effect until 5:25.
Nancy, I am hearing a roaring sound inside this building that's either thunder or strong wind. Do we have an outside camera that works? I'd like to take a look outside our window to see if we're having another recurrence of strong winds around here. Our WeatherNet station here actually is showing winds only at 4 miles an hour. And it is raining again in West Nashville. It's now just shy of 5 o'clock. The sun normally doesn't go down for another couple of hours, but with heavy clouds like this, it gives it an appearance of darkness. Earlier today, about a little over an hour ago, this is what it looked like outside Channel 4 studio as we were apparently on the outer fringes of the tornado that hit downtown Nashville. We clocked winds on our equipment at 75 miles an hour. And it did some damage to some of our trees. It blocked the driveway, but we didn't have any structural damage to the building. This is a very strong building. Although I will tell you, we felt it shake inside. It was fearful, and we had some interruption in power for a bit. These images made by photojournalist Tony Cook, doing all those things we tell you not to do. It's standing out in the middle of the storm. But then you don't get the pictures if you don't do them. So our hats off to Tony Cook. At the bottom of the screen there is the, it looks like our communication link is back up and running again, Nancy. Those areas with the tornado warning are indicated there on the map.
There's still maybe a few that aren't on there, but the information you are seeing there is correct. There's nothing inaccurate there, but there may be a few things omitted. We're seeing a lot of powerful stuff building up now by the Alabama line. Hardin, Waynesboro, Lawrence County, Lewis County, that's all fairly new. Decatur County.
This just came in, Nancy. The Lawrence and Lewis just came in. Weather Service says there's a tornado 5 miles southwest of Waynesboro, moving northeast at 40. And it should be near Riverside about 10 minutes after 5.
Humphreys County, Dixon County, Cheatham County, Robertson County. You all have a tornado warning in effect. You all need to be taking cover right now. Macon County, Trousdale, Smith, Clay, and Jackson. I'm working from west to east here. You all have a tornado warning in effect. You need to take cover right now. Henderson County in West Tennessee, you see the light yellow mark there. That is a thunderstorm warning. That is in effect, but we could see it to blossom into something more strong.
This just in from National Weather Service, a tornado 5 miles southwest of Waynesboro, and it is not reported on the ground, it's reported by Doppler radar, but as we know from the results we've seen today that these several times, have actually touched the ground. So the one that hit here in Nashville is the third in Middle Tennessee. There was one, the first thing this morning in the Dixon area. Actually, it's the fourth one in the state, but it's the third one in Middle Tennessee. There was one near Dixon, then the one here in town, and Nancy, the name of that town, my heavens, I can never remember it. It sounds like Sitco, but it's not Sitco.
Sango.
Sango,
I've
thank
had to
you.
remind you all day.
You folks in Sango, I'm so sorry, I just cannot remember that word. So the 3 tornadoes we've had so far were in Sango, Nashville, and then out at Dixon.
Dixon, and there was also, yeah, I was going to mention one in Robertson County, but that's the Sango one. James, real quickly, we don't have an official warning for this area right here, but this is looking a little bit rocky, similar to the storm that already came through, maybe not quite so powerful and yet significant. This would be, if indeed there's a tornado here, it would be in this area right here, and it would, I believe, be moving to the northeast.
Right near us again.
That would be arriving in Scottsboro at 5:11, Jordonia by 5:13, Morney by 5:19, Germantown by 5:19, Whites Creek by 5:20, Jolton 5:22. And this area here, we're hearing a lot of thunder here at Channel 4 right now. We're kind of in this area right here where there would tend to be a lot of hail and downpours.
We have been watching this storm for, it is now 5 in the afternoon. We have been watching this and on the air live since about 4:30. So it's been 13 and a half hours. We've been on the air nonstop. I'm not sure if this is a record. It may be. It's certainly a record for me for standing up this long without going to the bathroom.
It's not a record I'd care to repeat.
Closing in on the record, I'm sure.
Closing in on the record, Dan Miller tells me. I yield to his greater experience. And the storm continues to, or the storm system continues to plague Middle Tennessee. This is the latest one we see just moving closer to us here. In northern Lawrence and Lewis counties, the tornado warning is there. Dan Miller.
We are going to hear a lot of stories, James, after this of people who have survived it, of different things that have happened. We have one story of a person down on Market Street, the manager of the Market Street Brewery, who pulled people out of a car into his store, took them to the basement to have them safe, and a woman that works for the Ryman Auditorium said it may have saved some lives. It was a tour group from the Midwest. Cassandra Finch is sitting here with me, who was out in this for much of the day. You spotted some dramatic situations around Centennial Park.
I mean, I'm just walking in the door right now from what I have seen. I was over in the Centennial Park area where there were several trees that were just all over the place. They were snapped. The most serious situation that we saw there when we arrived is there was a young man, and as you're seeing there are rescue crews. They're on their way to the scene. They've been called out there to Centennial Park. Well, when we go and work our way through these trees, there is a young man who is underneath the trees. What they're trying to do now is remove the trees. They were taking electrical saws. They were also taking wreckers, and they were trying. There he is. He is actually trapped. He was trapped underneath a tree. We understand that he is a Vanderbilt student. There was a group of ROTC students who were out there, and they were having a picnic underneath the pavilion. When we understand that everything just went black, trees started toppling, and then that student became trapped. We saw numerous others who were over by the park benches. They were lying on the benches. They were being cared for by nurses. It took about, I would say, 10, 15 minutes, and then that's kind of rough because there were so many things happening, but about 10 minutes he was under there and they were trying to get him out. They brought the wrecker in, took a pulley, and cleared everyone away. There were about 50, 75, 100 people who were surrounding that pavilion. You can't see them now, but it was just crazy. Give him room, stand back, and they got him out finally.
Now he is under a tree limb.
He is underneath a tree limb, yeah, and I'm talking about a massive, I'm talking a big, big tree that he is. There you see all the people who are standing back. There are people just around all the sides. Eventually they cleared the pavilion area. We talked to a woman who said she was driving down West End when she said the transformer went out, just it went black, and next thing she knew there were trees that were down. Those students who were Vanderbilt students, they left the area. I totally understand of 9 people, and then you see all the EMS trucks there. 9 people were transported to the hospital. He was the most seriously injured. There were 8 other people who were transported, we saw, with cuts and abrasions.
Do we know the extent of his injuries?
We do not know. They took him. The thing is that you can see that he is conscious, you know. So we do not know, but the one thing, he was skin very, very white. That's the thing that I remember, is just that very, very white, and bruises and gashes just all along his leg.
Oh, what a terrifying thing to go through. Were there power lines around in this area as well?
Yes, exactly. Wires down. In fact, when I was walking through those trees, the fire guys were trying to tell me, be careful, be careful where you step, because there were just wires everywhere, live wires, so I had to be careful.
Well, had traffic along the West End area come to a standstill after all this? Can traffic move at all?
Well, by the time that we got there, traffic was moving, but then it's when we got to the Charlotte Pike area where everything was just at a standstill and you could hardly get through anywhere.
Okay, let's go back over to James Lewis. We have something happening out there, James.
Do we have an outside camera available? We have a storm coming up on West Nashville again. There it is. This is live, right? Is it live? Somebody tell me. I don't see any movement. Is that a live or a still story? Oh, it is live. All right, that's a live image right now looking outside our studio here on Nob Hill. Looking on SkyMax, we see that is to our, well, it's just to our north, just a little bit. There's apparently a fair amount of intensity in that. We do have a report now from reporter Dorinda Carter, who is at Cornelia Fort Airport. Are you there, Dorinda?
Yeah, James. At Cornelia Fort here in East Nashville, all but 2 of the planes out here have been destroyed. We're talking 30 or 40 airplanes that have been completely flattened, some turned upside down. Also, the hangars flattened. It's almost a total loss out here. Bill Colbert is the director. He joins us now. Bill, tell us what you saw. I know you were here at the time when the tornado came through.
First of all, I was looking out the window. We got everybody inside the buildings to make sure that they would be safe. And by the way, nobody was hurt, thank goodness. And I was looking out from the back of the building toward the flight line, and I saw one airplane just turn a backflip, and when it did, I dove behind the wall because I thought it was coming through the building, and it actually went over a 2-story building and landed in the back of a pickup truck.
How much money are we talking about here?
Just a rough guess, probably $2 or $3 million worth of damage.
My heavens, it's tremendous.
And you were inside the building at the time, I know you said. Can you talk about some of the other planes that you saw sort of flying through the air with help from the tornado?
Well, almost all of them were lifted up because they were all pointed toward the east, and now every one of them are almost pointed west. So they had been moved, and the hangar actually collapsed after the tornado went through, because I was looking at it as it collapsed, and when it did, it took one of our newly modified airplane conversions that we had.
And right now we can see some of the cleanup work beginning right now. Tell us about that, Bill.
Well, we've got 2 airplanes that weren't damaged,
Okay, let's
so we're
just
going to move those over to
fade that
Nashville.
out. Thanks very much. That's Dorinda Carter reporting from Cornelia Fort Airport, where many planes have been destroyed. We are looking at something in our immediate area again. This is the SkyMax information. It's just to our north. We were just looking at pictures out our roof camera just a minute ago.
Just to our northwest.
There's a live camera on top of our roof, and those storm clouds you saw there were live, and they are ominous looking.
They are ominous looking, and there is no official warning in effect for Davidson County right now. However, I'm going to advise you just to be really cautious about this area right now that you see a storm track for right now. This could be tornadic. It has that look, and I want you to pretend as though it is. It certainly makes a lot of sense when you think of everything we've seen today. This would be reaching Charlotte Park by 4:08, Jordonia by 5:14.
There you go.
I'm sorry, Charlotte Park by 5:08, Jordonia by 5:14, Bordeaux by 5:14, Germantown by 5:19, Whites Creek by 5:20, Jolton by 5:23. Otherwise, as this area of storms moves through the central part of Nashville and continues moving northeastward, folks in this end of the system would just be getting a lot of rain and maybe some hail. But right here, this is what we're kind of worried about. In fact, as we were looking out of the sky.
The roof camera.
Thank you. The roof camera just a moment ago, we were seeing a lot of swirling coming down out of there, and
That's it right there.
just a moment ago it looked even more ominous. So I think it's an area for concern.
Nobody's saying, and nobody's calling. In fact, there's not even a warning for that, but it does bear a close looking to.
Right.
Mayor Bredesen has had something to say in recent minutes about all this. Let's go to the bite of Mayor Phil Bredesen.
Just initial reaction?
Just initial reaction is so far the news has been pretty good. We've had so far in terms of anybody being really seriously injured, and there got to be some injuries out there with the severity of this, but certainly it's not as bad as I feared when I first saw it here. I've just been going to the command centers and making sure that everything is working smoothly, and it sure is. I think the emergency personnel are doing a great job, and I think in another hour or two we'll know the real scope of what's happening here.
You were you in your office?
Yeah, I was in my office when it happened, and you could see out the window some pretty severe weather. There were a lot of cars right out there with the windows blown out as we watched, and as soon as the wind stopped, I came over to the police department and had met the police chief on his way out coming over to the mayor's office. So we hooked up out here and went down the street to where the command center was at the fire station.
Sheriff's office, yeah.
I've been outside the sheriff's office. It looks like someone took a large knife and cut down the side of the building. But I think right now everyone's doing their job. The main issue right now is just the safety of people and where the injured might be, and that they're properly taken care of. And then we'll get a handle on what we have to do from here.
Those comments from Mayor Phil Bredesen on the storm. And as you know, as we have pointed out, Governor Sundquist has declared Nashville a disaster area. We are slowly getting reports of the damage around town, and it is extensive. Much of it from glass. That has been a danger, but as you've seen, fallen trees. Cassandra Finch was in Centennial Park, where they were lucky enough to get this young man out from under the tree. And we're seeing here, Cassandra, other raw footage of the damage around town.
Now this is on Charlotte Pike on the other side of Centennial Park, and this was really amazing to me. I mean, you would just see walls blown out, the backs of buildings blown out. You know, that was just a shot we just saw a few minutes ago, a couple of seconds ago. The insulation hanging.
Ken Tucker.
Exactly. And then just gridlock here. One of the more emotional scenes that I saw, you see cars underneath cinder blocks. There was a woman, and this was a very emotional scene. Not far from this area, there was a woman. She was in a car. You hardly saw any glass. And you just mentioned glass, but we saw there was glass that was stuck in her eye, and she was in the car, and she was crying because she was in shock. But you know, you talk about people being affected by this. That really brought it home.
Well, Cecil Whaley has said earlier, and of course we're trying to keep up with injuries as much as we can, but at earlier in the afternoon there were no life-threatening injuries reported. Of course, over in West Tennessee earlier in the day, there were some deaths from a tornado over in Dyer County, I believe it was. But the damage here in Nashville, as you can see from the pictures, as the reports come in, is quite extensive. As we've reported, many restaurants, Wolfie's nightclub has been damaged, lost a roof. We've had reports all day of the damage to the new Tennessee Oilers Stadium on the East Bank. This is a live picture we're looking at now. James, Nancy, you have anything over there?
Nancy's been on the air for, I think, about 14 hours. I wouldn't mind seeing her face up on the camera here. This is Nancy Van Camp. She's been here over 14 hours, and she's going to go home. she's going to rest.
It's been an interesting day.
You've done a fabulous job.
Before I go, I feel like I should mention the tornado warnings that are currently in effect. We'll take a look at SkyMax Live Radar while we do this, and if you could keep that map at the bottom left-hand side of the screen, that would help me out here. We're looking at Robertson County, north of Nashville. Robertson County has a tornado warning in effect right now. Cheatham County, a tornado warning in effect. Dixon County, a tornado warning. Humphreys County, a tornado warning. Wayne County, tornado warning. Lawrence County, tornado warning. Moving up to the northeast of Nashville, Macon County, Smith County. I think Trousdale County is still under the gun. Clay and Jackson. Macon, Trousdale, Smith, Clay, and Jackson counties northeast of Nashville still have a tornado warning. And then moving to the north, even into southern Kentucky, looks like Adair and Russell counties have a tornado warning in effect. Metcalfe County in Kentucky has a thunderstorm warning in effect. And Henderson County, off to the west of Nashville, has a thunderstorm warning in effect. We all know what that has meant so far today. Where we've seen thunderstorms, we've seen them develop into potential tornadoes. So those are the areas that we're most concerned about now. We'll continue to keep you updated throughout the evening. And it's been a pleasure serving you today.
Thank you, Nancy Van Camp. We have now on the phone Cecil Whaley. Good afternoon, Cecil. Go ahead, Cecil. You there, Miss Rand? Go ahead, Cecil. Yeah, but I'm getting feedback. That's fine. We need to work up this late. Well, we're making this up as we go. Yeah, but we're getting feedback. Hold on a second. I need to put this phone on hold. All right. While we get this worked out, we now go to Demetria Kaladimos, Downtown Live. Go ahead, DK. Go ahead, Demetria.
Demetria, can you hear us out there?
Apparently not right at the moment. We have Cecil Whaley. All right, Cecil, can you hear us?
Anybody else?
Cecil Whaley, go ahead if you can hear us. Oh, mercy, I hate that sound.
Go ahead, Cecil.
Go ahead, bud. He can't. Okay, we need a little engineering help to get this link worked out. Okay, we'll be checking back with Cecil Whaley in just a minute. Demetria Kaladimos, come in, please.
Yes, James, I can hear you. I'm wondering if you can hear me.
We hear you.
Yes, you are on.
I am right outside the state capitol near Tennessee State University's downtown campus on Charlotte Avenue. To give you an idea what traffic is like, I left the Channel 4 studios in West Nashville at about 4 o'clock and have just now reached our live truck location at the state capitol. So it's taken about an hour and 20 minutes to get here downtown. Off to the west, the skies are incredibly ominous looking. I think I can see the system that you all have been reporting that might be near our studios in West Nashville. Police are down here trying to direct traffic because all of the traffic lights are out. Emergency vehicles are coming through, but most people are being very patient. Few of the streets are blocked off. In fact, the eastbound lane of Charlotte pretty much ends around 25th Avenue. They're advising that no one drive downtown. The extent of the damage has been observed by Terry Bulger down here, and I'm going to turn it over to him to describe what he's seen.
Well, as we've been saying, I mean, you just look up at, especially the tall buildings, it seems like, and from the first floor all the way up to the 30th floor and beyond, you see shattered windows. I've seen it in the Andrew Jackson building, certainly the SunTrust building. Police have been working down here to keep people off of the sidewalks, pedestrians off of the streets as well, for fear that there might be falling glass. Even some of the concrete, they say, could potentially fall.
Of course, Broadway being made up of so many historic older structures, Terry, did they take the brunt of it?
Well, I know I heard Wolfie's, which is one of the old honky-tonk bars right there down on Lower Broad, sustained serious damage to the top part of its building. So yeah, like you say, I mean, these are really old structures that sustained a lot of damage, but even some of the recent ones, 20 years old, mostly window damage, but you look at it and it's really awful.
The drive down Charlotte Avenue is extremely telling. You can almost trace the path of the storm. We saw a lot of twisted metal. The Red Cross building, some of you may be familiar with, quite a few of the windows were blown out there, and the concrete masonry foundation cracked and pushed it. It looked as if from the inside out. A lot
lot of insulation hanging from the trees draped with the yellow and pink insulation. And we saw something, there is a storage, a you store it type warehouse on Charlotte, and someone's belongings, I hate to tell them, are out in the street.
Well, as far as that, people are going to find out a lot too when they come out of these office buildings. All of the parking lots around here, all kinds of damage to cars. Windshields blown out, back windows blown out, side windows blown out. Probably 15 in just one parking lot. I would imagine that's going to happen to several dotted around this downtown area. And we talked about kind of the weirdness of these winds. We'll try and get some pictures back to you in a little bit. The state capitol, the Tennessee state flag, there's a huge hole in the middle of the flag. The flag is still flying, but somehow it blew a hole right through the middle of the flag. Just weird stuff.
Large drops of very cold rain are falling on us right now, and we've seen quite a few lightning flashes. So we'll stay with you here as long as we can, as long as it remains safe. One of the vehicles, emergency vehicles, that I saw traveling down Charlotte Avenue is the Red Cross Bloodmobile, is what I think it might be. We don't have a confirmed word on injuries here in the downtown area, but that vehicle was responding. We have Nashville.
Can you hear us, Demetria?
Yes, I can.
We want to pass along this tornado warning. Is that what you've got, James? We have a tornado warning for northern Wilson County in Middle Tennessee until 5:45. National Weather Service Doppler radar indicated a tornado 3 miles northeast of Lebanon or 3 miles southwest of Taylorsville, moving east about 45 miles per hour. It is expected to be near Centerville at 5:20. Near Taylorsville at 5:20 and near Bellwood at 5:25. So be advised, a tornado warning in effect right now for northern Wilson County in Middle Tennessee.
Dan, we have Cecil Whaley on the line now from the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency. Go ahead, Cecil. He can hear us off the air, I believe.
Cecil,
go
can you
ahead.
hear
You're
us?
on the air. He's listening to us off air. Cecil, go ahead.
I'm holding.
Cecil, go ahead.
WSM.
Go ahead, Cecil. You're on the air. We've had a problem with our communications link, Dan. We're kind of making it up as we go here.
I'm not sure Cecil can hear us.
I've got a tree down at my house, but I don't have any damage to the house.
Hope he doesn't say anything he doesn't want.
Cecil, if you can hear us.
Fran had all the kids in her classroom. They had to get in the middle of the hallway. Blew out windows.
I don't think he can hear us, James.
I'm going to try something here.
We're trying to get through to Cecil Whaley out of.
Go ahead, Cecil. You're on the air.
James, Nancy, we've had, as you can tell from all the reports, a very serious situation occur in downtown Nashville. Governor Sundquist has declared downtown Nashville a disaster area. He has activated the State Emergency Operations Plan. He has sent Major General, Adjutant General Don Wood to the State Emergency Operations Center here in Nashville, and we have activated all of the emergency service coordinators in the state to respond to the National Guard Armory at the State Emergency Operations Center. We have activated all of the resources available to us to respond to the downtown Nashville area. As we understand it right now, we have all the hospitals in Nashville receiving some patients, but mostly what we're seeing right now are flying glass and flying debris injuries, not life-threatening. We're receiving a lot of car injuries. We have had reports of a couple of fatalities due to car wrecks that have been brought into the storm as the storm went through Nashville. We have had probably close to 100 individuals who have been treated so far at the various hospitals around town. We have had several cases where the hospitals themselves have had some damage. Now, what we're talking about in damage is mostly window damage or roof damage, not structural damage to the buildings. Although there are several older buildings downtown that appear to do have some structural damage, and we may have a few people who are injured due to that structural damage.
Cecil, can away from Cecil Whaley here. We have Dan. We have a tornado. You want to go ahead and do? You got that?
We have a tornado warning now for Robertson County in Middle Tennessee until 6:05 p.m. At 5:16, National Weather Service Doppler radar indicated a tornado 2 miles northeast of downtown Nashville, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. And this tornado will move to near Goodlettsville and Millersville by 5:30 p.m. Now let me repeat this. Tornado warning for Robertson County in Middle Tennessee until 6:05. At 5:16, the National Weather Service Doppler radar indicated a tornado 2 miles northeast of downtown Nashville, moving to the northeast, 45 miles an hour. It will move near Goodlettsville and Millersville by 5:30 p.m.
We saw two pieces of information in that. I'm wondering about the first one, Dan. It mentions Robertson County, and then it says 2 miles northeast of downtown Nashville. I think I'm looking at what they're talking about, and it's right here in the Madison area, and they say it's moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. So you folks up there in this area up toward Gallatin need to be prepared. In the Madison area right now, the bright pink area indicates the high likelihood of some strong hail in there. So I expect you're probably seeing some turbulence right now.
Tornado warning for Sumner County in Middle Tennessee until 6:25 p.m. National Weather Service indicates a tornado 9 miles northeast of downtown Nashville or 6 miles west of Hendersonville. It's moving to the northeast at 45 miles per hour. It's expected to be at Hendersonville at 5:25 and at Shackle Island at 5:25. So another tornado warning in Sumner County in Middle Tennessee until 6:25. They are popping right now, James.
I'm going to relocate this map here. Bill Hall has joined us in the studio. Does Bill, are we ready for Bill? Okay. Afternoon, Bill.
Well, good afternoon, James, and it's certainly been a hectic day, a very dangerous day with this battle of the air masses continuing over the area. Certainly, I think the fine coverage people have had here on Channel 4 has made us all certainly aware of the situation. Just an update here because on the Metro Nashville situation, just got a report that one man has been critically injured by the tornado that struck the downtown Nashville area. As a matter of fact, the Metro Nashville-Davidson County area, one of the assistant fire chiefs says the man was hit by a fallen tree at Centennial Park. At this time, he is at Vanderbilt Hospital. And James and everyone watching, as we watch the situation out there live now across the beautiful rolling hills, certainly this weather pattern is not so a beautiful situation. And as you can see, we still have this instability over the area. If there is any good news whatsoever, and that is that the apparently, in checking with the Severe Storms Forecast Center and other folks just a short while ago, it is apparent that a lot of the more unstable air has moved to our east, but certainly we did, and I heard James mention earlier today, give you some very, very worthwhile advice, and that was not to be lulled into complacency, because that little bit of sunshine some of the areas got certainly contributed to an additional heat buildup, and we have still a cold front that will be approaching from the west, and these cold fronts certainly interact with the instability that we have over the area. Certainly we can see that there's an area of severe thunderstorm activity in and around the bend of the Cumberland, and in most cases, and certainly this activity, for the most part, I think the history today has been for these particular storms to move either northeast, whereas this morning I think most of them were moving due eastward. Now they're sort of oscillating back and forth, doing what they want to, if you will. And so certainly those areas to be affected right now on the immediate Middle Tennessee and or metro areas, the heaviest storms right now just to the east of the Madison area, and some are moving east. James will be doing tracks on these as we go through the next several minutes and or hours, but it would appear that we might be getting a slight turn to the southeast. Certainly as we focus our attention up Interstate 65, there's a little bit of a lull in the activity just west of the Goodlettsville area, and on the present path of that storm, if it continues northeast, as James just plotted that for you, persons in Green Lawn can expect some activity, possibly severe in their area at 5:33, the Saundersville area at 5:44, and Avondale at 5:47. So it remains certainly a dangerous, not potentially life-threatening situation, but certainly remains a life-threatening situation, and it's going to stay with us throughout the next several hours until we get frontal passage. Also noticed as we came in this afternoon up Nob Hill, there are numerous trees down here at Channel 4, and a check of our automated weather stations here at the Channel 4 Weather Center. We had a wind gust here, James, this afternoon at 4:16, just about that time, give or take a minute or two based on the recording, of 93 miles an hour. Here is a better look at what's happening, the overall view. This gives us a good picture of what's going on, and certainly people up here in and around the Henry County area, the Paris, Tennessee area, you can start breathing a little bit of sigh of relief, but certainly don't go to put this thing out of your mind as of yet, because certainly the criteria states when we do have these severe weather situations, when there are tornado watches and or warnings, and my favorite saying is the watch all too often is the only only warning you get. These systems are thunderstorms, as you have heard throughout the day from countless sources, quite often and usually do produce tornadoes in or near the watch area with very little and or if any notice. So certainly we have this continuation of the southwest to the northeast movement of this line of thunderstorms, and you know they have been severe. At least at best they have been strong. Got new areas of thunderstorm activity now, southeastern Lewis County, moving into northern Lawrence County and northwestern Giles County for those of you down there. I'm thinking that the National Severe Storms Forecast Center, if they have not already done so, I think they have already issued a new watch area for extreme northern Alabama, and we always like to mention those watches in our adjacent areas because we do have areas of responsibility so far as Channel 4 is concerned in our area, in our viewing area of Limestone, Lauderdale, Colbert, and Madison. So we've got the continuation of the system, and I think Dan has another update for you. Dan?
Well, Bill, I think we've got Demetria out in the field right now. Demetria, tell us where you are and what you're seeing. Are you there?
Dan, I'm here at 8th Avenue in Charlotte, and I'm going to show you some of the pictures that we rolled as we were driving down Charlotte Pike. That was a storage warehouse where someone's belongings are out in the street. Entire corner of that building is ripped off. There you see it. Some of you might know that landmark there on Charlotte Avenue. We were traveling east downtown, as I said. You can see the twisted metal, big sections of twisted metal from where they came. We aren't sure. Some were blocking the roadway. Many of them had been pushed out of the way.
This is Charlotte Avenue, Demetria?
This is Charlotte Avenue.
Okay.
There was a semi-truck there turned over. You can see some of the twisted metal there, Dan, caught in the power lines. What power lines that were left standing?
Can you see the path as such, Demetria, or is it just widespread and sporadic?
It is somewhat sporadic, but you can see areas where it definitely touched down and stayed down for a while. There's an example. Many of the buildings in that area are older, and several of them suffered
Do you know
pretty
what
bad
that is?
damage.
What is that building? Can you tell?
I'm not sure exactly where that is.
Is that HCA behind it?
It's near the hospital corridor, yeah.
Yeah.
This is the Nashville Cats practice facility some of you may be familiar with, that's there on Charlotte. Another big hunk of twisted metal.
Is power out in that region right now?
It wasn't. We had functional street lights until we got about to the interstate here downtown, and that's when the police stepped in and began directing traffic. Here, I believe we stopped and you can see the cars, Dan, demolished.
Wow, yeah.
Roofs had fallen in on cars all over town, and some of the cars that were passing us had windows and windshields blown out.
I suppose that people who live out in the outskirts of Nashville, if their loved ones or friends are not home, I'm sure they will worry, but the fact of the matter is they may be stuck in traffic somewhere.
That's a very good possibility. As I said, it took us, almost 2 hours to get from White Bridge Road to 8th and Charlotte, where we are right now. But you get an idea. Many of the power poles are splintered in half. Large trees, I mean, we stopped counting how many large trees there were down just in the path that we traveled downtown here on Charlotte Pike. Stunning damage, really. And earlier, one of the first stops we made was to an area around 35th in Charlotte, where some of the small auto body shops and other businesses folks might be familiar with. 5 men who are working inside of a body shop jumped into a car they were repairing just before the roof blew off.
Okay, so traffic does seem to be moving there pretty good at this point.
Slowly. There are a lot of Metro police out here directing it. People are being very patient, I might add. And it's moving as, I think, the best you could expect traffic to be moving in this sort of situation.
Have you run across people who actually saw the funnel clouds?
Several of them along Charlotte as we stopped to talk to people. One man was driving a semi-truck for the Georgia Pacific Lumber Company, and he said he got out of his truck just in time for the force of the wind to blow him into the building. So he was thankful he was out of his truck, because a few feet down we saw a tractor-trailer truck rolled over.
Okay, we have what we're going to show right now, Demetria, some video of downtown. This is probably going to be unedited. It's home movies, and I don't know yet where we got them from, but we hope this will actually show. I think there.
Dan, here's Terry Bulger, and he's been downtown.
You can see the new arena in the background of the picture, and you will see, I think, here the storm, the twister. This is on Broadway. I'm watching this in black and white, but I suppose it's sort of black and white even if you're watching it in color. The storm to the left, you can see, and you will see transformers and power lines occasionally go here. But that is you can see the cyclonic activity.
Dan, this is Terry Bolger. We are probably right now seeing more than the folks who were actually downtown saw, because so many of them in the higher buildings were seeking cover when this did go through. So many buildings with glass windows down here. The folks who are in those buildings were certainly far away, so they didn't get a chance to see this either.
Yeah, so even if they were in it, they didn't see it, but we're seeing it here on this home video.
That's right. That looks, yeah, just looking at the arena there, just off Lower Broad.
Well, I've never seen, or have not seen in many years, the type of wind we had here at the station, and I don't know whether how close the tornado came to the WSMV studios here, but it was quite frightening.
And whoever shot this video, I see, took cover at some point.
This is the tornado. We can actually see it. If you look, you can see the actual funnel there. Come in here with me. We're gonna have, as we watch this video, the people. Tracy, is your last name Karatza?
Yes.
Is that right? Tracy Karatza, and you're from?
Boston, Massachusetts.
Boston. We're going to hook a mic on here. And you shot this video?
Yes, I did.
What was your thought process?
Okay. Should I just explain what happened?
Sure.
Well, my husband, Dean Constantine, was shopping in the Tennessee Stage music store, and I was out in the car waiting for him and going through the car.
He was buying some strings.
He was buying some guitar strings,
yeah.
And I was cleaning out the back of the car at the time, and when I was leaning over, I felt this cloud come over the back of me, and my ears started to pop, and that's when I knew this is more than just a cloud. And I looked up and I saw this. The sky was completely black.
We can see the video.
Black. Yes, exactly. And at the time, I was looking up into the sky, and I noticed that it was moving really fast, and so I figured, oh, I better videotape this just for the sake of, just in case, because we knew that there was a chance that Tennessee could have a tornado.
You had heard tornado.
I had heard tornado. You know, we have never seen a tornado, so we really didn't know what to look for. So then at the time, I took the video camera and I started taping the sky, and that's when he ran out and said, "You better get inside. Everyone's saying a tornado's coming."
The folks in the music store allowed us to come in.
The folks in the music store were saying, you better come inside. So we were running inside to the music store to try to take cover, because at that moment, all the wind started to blow and the debris started to fly through the streets and people started running. And so I kept the videotape going as much as I could, and you know, we saw a couple that were running and a park bench blew over and hit them, and they fell and they got up and they kept running. And at that time, then we went inside.
Now here you're going inside.
Yeah, we went inside, and we were trying to stay under cover, and the garage door blew in on their shop and completely went right to the back. The roof blew off the back of the
While you're in the building?
While we're in the building.
And you were where in the building when this happened?
We were practically praying in this little room that they let us come into.
Right.
They told us, come on
right
in
in
here
the front of it, and there was
get away from the window.
Yeah, there was a big piece of plate glass that was bowing, and we were afraid it was going to break.
Have you ever seen anything like this before?
Never.
No.
Wow.
A lot of snow, not tornadoes.
We never thought, oh, in Nashville, we never thought it would actually happen. And we heard some people say, oh, it only happens in the flatlands out around the edge. And
tell me how certain you feel that moving into that building and moving into the right place in that building saved you from injury.
Well, I think that what we observed with benches flying around and glass breaking, I think they really saved us the potential for injury, for sure.
What did you hear when all this happened, what we're seeing on the video here?
A whirring sound, like a rushing, almost sounded like a train.
That's what we always hear.
It was a whirring sound, it really was. And I thought maybe there was a steam factory behind us, and I turned around and I looked, and I thought maybe it was that at first, but then we heard the whirring sound, and I looked up and I knew it was coming right over that, I think it's an arena center.
In our ears, oh.
You could feel the pressure,
the pressure, unbelievable.
Popping.
Quickly, give me your names again, I'm sorry.
Connie and Tracy Karatza.
Thank you very much for providing us with that video, and I'm glad
we could be of some assistance.
Thank you very much. Let's go back over to Bill. Bill, what do you got?
Okay, Dan, first of all, certainly thank our visitors there for that information, and they bring up a good point, and we'll be going over the tornado tips once again. We'll also be making some additional storm tracks because we have had calls from persons downtown wanting to know when the next storm will come through. But before we do that, just briefly, James has reminded me that we have had confirmed tornadoes in the Sango area, Montgomery County, Dixon, and of course here in Nashville. Now, as we approach darkness, this this is an added danger to us. You know, during the daylight hours, despite the dark skies and clouds, we've been able to see and have been pretty good storm spotters ourselves. But certainly as we approach darkness, as with sunset at 7:22 and/or darkness moves in, and not necessarily in this area, but wherever you are, if you're threatened by severe weather during the severe weather mode, you would certainly want to make as less noise as possible in the house, because you heard our visitors there just say that it sounded like a train, and that's the most common thing that people tell us who have been in these twisters. So you would certainly want to, as you prepare to get into that lowest level or interior hallway, bathroom that adds extra protection, carrying those blankets with you, those pillows with you, those things to cover your head, and or a flashlight. If you can see the radar, watch out for those areas. We'll be putting the information on the screen for you as it becomes available. I do know we have had golf ball size hail in the vicinity of the Hides Ferry, Ashland City Highway, Edens Creek Road area this afternoon. Now, let me first of all just mention that tonight's forecast continues to be headlined with a tornado watch until 10 o'clock. We also have a flash flood warning in effect, and certainly some of the information we pass along to you during these situations is that be alert to flash flooding, and if you have to abandon your vehicle in a low-lying area because of thunderstorms and/or tornadoes, be alert to the possibility of flash flooding. James, can we take a look at SkyMax right now, because we did have some of our viewers downtown wondering about the next most likely time for any additional movement of strong to possibly severe storms. And certainly those of you that have watched the radar throughout the years, and certainly today, you've gotten really some added education today, and certainly we can see, thank goodness, there. Well, first of all, there continues to be a continuation of these movements, storm movements, mainly to the east-northeast. Ridgetop at 548, Greenbrier at 548. Then at Oakdale at 557, just to give you a few of these movements over the area. But certainly what I was about to say, here's another plot for us. Dixon Springs 541, Cato 543, Pleasant Shade 547, Gum Spring at 550. And certainly the decrease in intensity in these storms, if I may sort of second guess what you and I are seeing, because James is at the controls over there. Where I stand from this monitor, it looks as if we got just some heavy duty rain showers. We got heavier thunder showers or embedded thunderstorms, whereas off to the east, approaching, well, it's southwest of the Clay County, Salina area, we've got some heavy thunderstorm activity still in that area, whereas there seems to be some decrease in intensity back to the west. Now, north of Smith County and Carthage, Tennessee, approaching the Jackson County, Gainsboro area, is another couple of heavy thunderstorm cells that are apparently, James, would you say these are moving to the east, more east than northeast, I would think, at this time. And so certainly we can see back here as we go from Montgomery County up into Todd and Logan counties, that line of storms continues up there. Hopefully they are moving to the northeast, but as you will note, northeast of Warren County, Kentucky, and or the Bowling Green area, there remains some more embedded strong thunderstorms inside this area of thundershower and thunderstorm activity. Certainly, to answer your question about downtown, folks, yes, there are more showers and storms moving into the middle and or immediate Middle Tennessee areas, but if there is any good news at this point, I doubt if we could even say that, and that would be to say you could just compare your different color levels here. This is strong to severe possible rotation and or thunderstorm activity. The others are just severe thunderstorms. So let's go back to SkyMax and see what James has. James?
Bill, we have a couple of things to tell you about. One is some flash flood warnings for these following counties: Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Macon, Robertson, Sumner, Trousdale, Williamson, and Wilson. Those are flash flood warnings until 8:05. We just got in a tornado warning for, we already had that one. I'm going to get this up again. Bill already mentioned that one about Adair County, but we got a new one in. Tornado warning. That was Kentucky. I'll get it in a minute. Here we go. This is for northern Giles County and southern Murray County. A tornado warning until 6:40. That's about an hour from now. Weather Service Doppler radar says there's a tornado 12 miles south of Hohenwald, and it's moving east at 45 miles an hour. That's in Giles and Murray counties. The National Weather Service says there is a tornado in that. And Bill, we've had lots of reports of tornadoes on radar, and some of them didn't hit the ground, but some of them did. And I guess on the if you're going to make an error, be an error on the conservative side and say there's a possible tornado.
That's absolutely correct, James, and certainly one thing that we've noticed today is that these storms and these thunderstorms and tornadoes and the thunderstorms that produce these tornadoes have been moving relatively fast. I heard one quote that they were extremely high in the atmosphere, which makes them twice as volatile. We don't necessarily worry about something that might be 18 to 20,000 feet, but when we get storms that are at the heights we've heard of today, 60,000+ feet, that's certainly a potential killer. Now, you've got a meso plot there, James. So Highland, 549, Olivia, 550, Turkey Creek, 552, expected arrival at Laurel Hill, 557, Center, Tennessee at 6 o'clock, and 6:03 in Houston, Tennessee on our first mesoscale storm track right there, or the rotating possibility. You're in there on the Summertown area, and so that particular area, certainly folk in Murray County, James, as well, with the movement of this storm, certainly would brush across, if not all of Murray County, no doubt, certainly southern Murray County, and so that's something for folks to be concerned about right there. And I noticed as you come out there, we're really looking at an area just west of Hardin County, Savannah, the Shiloh area, that line of storms. There you go, just covering pretty much all of Lewis County, as you can see right there now, and that's a pretty heavy storm cell there. Also, just in the vicinity of northwestern Hickman County and the Centerville area is another impressive storm. But James, as I continue to look at these, it does appear to be some decrease in intensity with these storms to our immediate west, but whereas the ones to the east are continuing. Up around Bowling Green, that's another severe storm. Now, up in Cumberland County, Tennessee, Crossville, Tennessee, the system
Bill,
there.
Excuse me, the Weather Service says there's a tornado warning for Cumberland County. That's that the area you're looking at right there.
That's right.
And should be in the Crossville area maybe by 6:45.
Okay, James, so that
excuse me, that's 5:45.
5:45, that's right.
In minutes from now.
Cumberland County and the Crossville, Fairfield Glades area, we get a lot of people going there. Beautiful area, nice golf course, so certainly there would be people there watching TV. I know a lot of folk in there travel over to the Knoxville area, so these are severe storms, or dangerous storms, at least for the next several hours, James.
And Dan Miller has some additional information for us, Dan.
Information for the, thank you, James, for the thousands of state workers, information from Governor Don Sundquist. All state workers in Nashville can stay home tomorrow. Governor Sundquist is closing all state buildings. Officials will be verifying damage from the tornado that struck downtown, and they'll be making repairs. And as you know, several state buildings were damaged, including the Capitol. So to repeat, all state workers in Nashville can stay home tomorrow. The governor is closing all state office buildings. And we're going to have some more tape from 2nd and Broadway. Do we have that now? This is tape taken today at 2nd and Broadway downtown. Is Ava Filson there? I'm not sure she's there yet. But but numerous buildings in downtown Nashville damaged today in the storm, and you're seeing some of the damage to trucks, cars, buildings, glass panes blown out. Luckily, what we're hearing so far is minor injuries. Storms have hit the entire state. In Dyer County in western Tennessee earlier today, there were 2 deaths. Tornadoes have broken out from the western part of the state to the eastern part, into Kentucky, into Mississippi. And as we look at this video taken downtown, we're going to go back over to James Lewis. James, you have some new information?
Yes, actually, Bill Hall over at the SkyMax map has this tornado warning for Macon and Smith County. Do you have that, Bill?
That's right, James, and this is a tornado warning for Macon and Smith County until 6:30 p.m. So you people in the vicinities of Lafayette and into Smith County, possible tornado southeast of Lafayette or 2 miles southwest of Williette, moving northeast at about 40 miles an hour. And here's some projected times of arrival of this possibly tornado activity. 5:45 Rockhouse, Tennessee, 5:47 Johnson, 5:47 Dixon, Cato, Pleasant Shade, and Gum Springs. There you see the respective times or the estimated times of arrival of these heavier storms. Now here and around the Lafayette and or Macon County area, some heavy-duty thunderstorms southeast of Macon County. We can see also as you go into Jackson County, north and west of the Gainsboro area, up here in the Clay County area, Salina, Tennessee. So we can see that activity moving towards you people in the vicinity of Scottsville and Burkesville, Kentucky. So that's, if you have not received a watch or warning in those areas, you certainly would want to be prepared in the event that this storm continues on its present path. Coming back over to northwest of Carteret and northern Smith County, northeastern Wilson County and Sumner County, heavy thunder showers continue make their presence known. 5:48 is the most likely time of arrival at Thompson's Store. Paydensburg 5:51, Willow Grove 5:53, should move to St. John's at 5:55, Frog at 5:58, and 6:01 at Hobart. So we have just a continuation of this northeastward movement, and as James comes in on the border areas there of Macon County and Jackson County, approaching the Gainesboro area, we can see this intense area of thunderstorm activity with the possibility of some rotation. Certainly, we've had reports of hail and seen hail through with a great many of these storms, as we apparently got that additional afternoon heating to help fire up these thunderstorms in the advancing in the front of this advancing cold front. So certainly, folks in Jackson County, the Gainesboro area, along the river, even the Smith County area, need to be taking cover as you prepare to receive this weather. And again, as we were just saying, with the threat, or with darkness being here, that threat certainly has grown more. If you're watching us on television, probably would be a good idea to be as quiet as you can, have those blankets and pillows and all the things necessary. As we go, as soon as we can, we'll go over the safety tips with you again, but have that flashlight handy, have that radio handy, and have all the necessary things to cover your head, get under a sturdy piece of furniture and or a workbench. I believe we're getting something else. Are we getting another warning here, James?
Yes, Bill, northern Wilson County. I'll hand it to you in just a second.
Okay, well, here we are. Lebanon, of course, in Wilson County, and we can see along the lake systems. Thank you, James. This is a new tornado warning for northern Wilson County here in Middle Tennessee. It, too, has an expiration date of 6:30. This tornado is 5 miles south of Gallatin and moving east at a rather quick 45 miles an hour. The tornado is expected to move across northern Wilson County, north of Interstate 40, at its present speed. So as we said, if you are in the path of this or any tornado or even severe thunderstorms, which all too often do produce tornadoes, you want to follow the safety rules and tips we've been passing along to you last several days and certainly for today, and that is to seek the shelter and or protection in the lowest level, an interior hallway. You would want to carry blankets and pillows and things to protect your head, flashlight, weather radio, and so that's just some of the tips we have to pass along to you. I believe we have some additional information. Now let's go back to the news desk and Dan. Dan?
Well, Bill, we have some more videotape from downtown if you want to get an idea of the damage and the destruction.
Gentlemen, I hate to interrupt. We have just in a tornado warning for Jackson County. Jackson County now under tornado warning. I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay. As we look at this video, any warnings that come in, we want to pass those along immediately. Again, a tornado, at least one tornado struck downtown Nashville today, and blowing out windows, glass everywhere. As you can see, widespread destruction. It looks like a war zone. This is 2nd and Broad we're looking at right here. Emergency vehicles in action everywhere. We've heard of 100 people or so injured. Luckily, so far, no life-threatening injuries from what we hear. Cecil Whaley at TEMA said early in the day it appeared the single tornado touched down just east of downtown at about 3:45 and skipped across the city in a path 3 or 4 miles wide. It is not over yet. We continue, as you hear from Bill and from James, to get more weather warnings, more tornado warnings. Tornadoes and severe weather are widespread across the state of Tennessee. As far as I know, guys, they're still to the west of here, which I would assume means we can have them moving in on through the evening, right?
That is theoretically possible. That is correct. And in fact, we're going to take a wide shot of SkyMax here and show you what we do have off to our west. We do have more storms forming up there, but more importantly, we have almost a squall line. See this? That's going to give the whole system more energy. So I'd say we're in for more trouble this evening. We have something just coming in, Bill.
Okay, James, and I'll repeat the tornado warning you just gave to Dan and I and the viewers. A tornado warning for Jackson County until 6:50. Radar indicating a tornado 11 miles northwest of Gainesboro, or 3 miles northwest of Dicus, moving east at it too 45 miles an hour. And as James mentioned, certainly with this approaching cold front, you know, cold fronts in a situation like this act as lifting and tossing mechanisms already into a very, very unstable air mass. The dew points are extremely high. The moisture content's very, very high. And so with the collision of that approaching cold front, it's going to really, it's like a match in fuel. But certainly when we get a chance, we'll probably take a look back at some of the far western areas of our viewing area to see just if it's passed through, and we'll also be checking the wind direction in some of these western areas. James has just handed me another tornado warning, and this is what we were telling you just a moment ago, folks. Tornado warning in effect for Clay County until 6:50 p.m. Clay County, Salina, Tennessee, right where you just got the storm plot, and on its present path and course and or speed. As James just goes to the plot, expected time of arrival at Thompson Store, 5:53, Willow Grove, 5:58, to name a couple of. 3 of these points most likely to be the recipient of some strong to severe storm, and 6:07 at Hobart. Repeating, tornado warning in effect for viewers in Clay County until 6:50 this evening. Also, tornado warnings in effect until 6:50 for our viewers in Jackson County, and also a tornado warning in effect until 6:30 for Wilson County, northern Wilson County here in Middle Tennessee. We still have the tornado warning in effect for Macon County and Smith counties of Middle Tennessee until 6:30 this evening. Certainly the potentially life-threatening situation is not going to let up for the next couple of hours. I'd say the most likely time we could probably get a respite from this activity is going to be, I think if we can hang in here the next 3 or 4 hours, especially from Nashville back to the west, if you could use that imaginary line of Interstate 65 running north and south, areas from that back to the west, hopefully we're getting some decrease in intensity right now. Thank you, James. And you can see what's happening to the left of Nashville there, or to the west along Interstate 40. We can see that there's not that much activity. Good reference point James has put in there for you. And so certainly we think in the next couple, 3 hours, it looks as if these decreases in intensities are correct, if I'm reading that right, we should start getting a little bit of relief from Nashville to the west in the next couple of hours. I think, however, from Nashville eastward on over to our extreme easternmost parts of our areas of responsibility, the Cumberland Plateau, southeast Kentucky, even as far south as Sequoia, Grundy, and Bledsoe counties, which Chattanooga covers as well. I think it's going to be a rather long night for those areas, say, from the Cumberland Plateau eastward. Actually, we'll just to be safe, we'll say from Nashville to the east until about 2 o'clock tomorrow morning, unless, of course, we get a speed up of this particular cold front. And certainly another reminder, as you remember those tips, going over those tips with your family there, do remember that we have darkness now. We're just about to have darkness, and it will be extremely difficult. You're going to have to rely on weather radar operators, our technicians. They're all over the place. National Weather Service got some of the best in the world, and especially in Kentucky. So do be careful, because if you're under a watch, it means that this particular situation could develop in or near that area, and certainly you will want to pay close attention, listening for that loud noise and or that loud roar, and have the family ready to take shelter in those interior hallway levels, on the lowest level. Have the blankets and pillows standing by. Be ready to get in a sturdy piece of furniture. And again, we can see a lot of the activity moving well to the, well, not well to
Bill,
the
they've had some...
We've got some more, Dan?
They have had problems in Wilson County. Well, they've had problems everywhere, but in Wilson County, dispatchers reporting several people have been taken to local hospitals there after trailers overturned north of Lebanon. Their conditions are not known, but again, Wilson County, a hard hit. And we want to go back out to Dimitri Kaladimos in the field. Where are you, Dimitri, and what have you got?
Dan, I'm still here at 8th and Charlotte, where people are slowly making their way out of the office buildings. Fran Wallace was working in the Tennessee Tower when the windows blew out. Tell me what happened.
We saw the funnel cloud coming, and we all started to run away, and I went back to get my car keys. And when I went back, the windows all blew out and everything. The papers blew all over. There were computer disks flying everywhere. We went into the fire escape hallway, and it was completely dark. There were no emergency lights, so we all were holding onto the banister, following one another, trying to get down to the basement. And then we all just sort of huddled down there, and we could hear the wind going.
Was it the characteristic roar that we hear about, the locomotive sound?
We all got really quiet to listen to it because it was so amazing. The sound was amazing and very frightening. And most people were trying to reach family members, children that were at school, or spouses that were at work at other buildings. And so everybody was pretty much heading for phones as soon as it went by.
What have you learned today, Fran?
Well, I think that we need to have a better safety system,
really,
so that the employees are protected. There was absolutely no organization. There were no plans on how to get out of the building, and no lights or anything.
And as Bill Hollis said time and again, don't go back for anything.
Right, I did learn that lesson.
Thank you very much, Fran Wallace, who was working in the Tennessee Tower. I'd like to show you, Dan, some video that photojournalist Sky Walker shot just a moment ago. This is the Tennessee Tower, and look at these mangled mini blinds and some of the windows that were blown out. This is the damage that Fran was just describing to us, and pretty amazing statement of what happened downtown here today.
Demetria, this is James Lewis. We have seen the intensity of that storm down there, and we of course know it is not over. Folks over toward the Salina area have to face more of this. There's an intense storm just right there to the south and west of them now. I think Craig Owensby from the school, no, he is not. In a minute, we're going to be speaking with somebody from the school district to find out what the status is there.
You know, it's interesting. We hear from Fran, who Demetria was talking about no emergency plan. We practice fire drills. We practice other ways to get out of buildings and to get out of emergency situations. But how often are there drills for this very situation, and what you do and where you go? And maybe it's something we need to think more about.
Not a bad idea. Do we have Craig Owensby on the line from the Nashville Metro Schools? Craig, go ahead, please.
James, you there?
I am. Go ahead, sir.
What we know right now is that we have damage to several school buildings, but we do know that we have no reports of any kids being injured. We have two schools, Lockland Elementary and Sylvan Park Elementary, where the streets are just too blocked with debris to get the kids out. So the kids are waiting at those schools for the buses to bring them home. They're safe, they're okay, they're being taken care of at Lockland and at Sylvan Park. And also at Dodson Elementary in the eastern part of the county, we have some kids who are still there, again with their teachers, safe and being taken care of, just waiting for the weather to clear. So our status right now is that we know we have some damage to buildings. We have some situations where the streets are too blocked to get the kids out. We have a lot of buses running late because in many cases the principals didn't want to send the kids out into the storm, which hit about the time that the elementary schools let out. So a lot of buses went home late, but again, as far as we know, all the kids are safe, although we do have some building damage.
Thanks very much. That's Craig Owensby from Metro School. So 3 schools there, Lockland Elementary, Sylvan Park Elementary, and Dodson Elementary. The children are in the school, they're safe, but the streets are blocked and they don't feel like they can safely take them home right now.
James, I'm looking at the area along Interstate 65 from Columbia southward as it moves out of those areas, say in northern and central Giles County. Right now in Marshall County, for example, maybe if we can second guess some of this activity and give folks a little additional leadway, but just if we may draw your attention to Interstate 65 Columbia, southward into northern Giles County. To the right there is Marshall County, and certainly, although you have not received an official word yet, those of you, as the activity of severe storms start to cross Interstate 65, you can see that Lewisburg, western Marshall County, starting to get some heavy-duty thunder showers. Even farther back to the west, just to the north of Summertown, there are some heavy thunderstorms, all part of this system that's apparently moving to the east, James.
And the folks in that path bill should take this seriously. Judging from the damage we saw downtown in Nashville earlier, it's definitely something to be reckoned with. Demetria Kaladimos is still downtown live. Are you there, DK?
Yes, I am, James. And one of the things that was most symbolic that we noticed this afternoon, this storm hit in the middle of the day in the middle of the state of Tennessee and ripped out literally the middle of the Tennessee flag. The stars right out of the center flag you see that flies on the state capitol. If there is a picture that is symbolic of what happened this afternoon, perhaps that is it.
Right out of the heart of Nashville and the heart of the flag. Well, how are things downtown right now, Demetria?
Again, the traffic that is trying to make it out of town down Charlotte here is moving extremely slowly. From time to time, more emergency vehicles are moving through, presumably to gain access to the interstates and other areas. People are being patient as best they can. A lot of the workers are leaving the offices that have shattered windows and damaged cars in the parking lot. So all in all, things are moving slowly here, but it seems that folks are fairly calm.
According to radar, you're probably getting some light rain right now. Is that accurate?
That's right. Earlier we had colder, heavier drops, but it's let up a little bit. A light sprinkle.
Okay, thanks very much.
James, I'm sorry, go ahead, Dan.
I just want to mention we need to do a station identification. We're on the 13th hour now of continuous coverage here of the storms. This is WSMV Nashville. That's something legally we have to do. And I want to mention also again for state workers that all state workers in Nashville can stay home tomorrow. The governor is closing all state office buildings. Officials will be verifying the damage from the tornadoes that struck downtown and making repairs. Again, state workers don't work tomorrow.
And the governor did declare Nashville a disaster area.
Yes.
Okay. You know, coming in from Cheatham County this afternoon, James, I noticed Briley Parkway 55 from the Cumberland River, the Cumberland River Bridge, northward was moving at a snail's pace. Apparently there had been a couple of accidents on that one, so that's the only road I can attest to other than into Highway 12 where there have been some weather-related delays, and certainly I would imagine there are going to be some major travel problems, as we've heard from people like Richard Thomas and others today. You got some more tracks here, right, James?
Yes, that was right there to in the Ashland City area. That's a Bill, that's a mezzo. That could get nasty. Nobody's calling that a tornado. I'd say it's not, but it could be. So that intense storm is likely to be in the Bellsburg area in about another 6 minutes from now. Bethlehem by about 6:15.
And certainly, James, with that being a becoming more and more populated area, it's, that county is growing and becoming a popular county. There are quite a great many, I should say, rural roads. We remember that from the ice storm a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So certainly those roads, the threat of darkness, I would certainly suggest if you don't have to be out traveling tonight, please stay tuned to us and watch it, and we'll try to watch these things electronically, and you use your own ears and or eyes. Oakdale 621, James, is that okay? Just some more storm tracks there. Forest Grove 603, which is coming up very close to that particular time.
Let's go back to Dan Miller.
Well, Middle Tennessee has certainly seen more than its share of storms today. One tornado hitting Dixon County early this morning, and almost as quickly as it hit, residents tell us that community began pulling together to salvage whatever is possible. Channel 4's Holly Thompson brings us that part of the story.
The whole front of the building is gone. The roof is gone.
Dixon County residents begin picking up the pieces after a tornado twists its way across Highway 46, destroying businesses and homes around 7 o'clock this morning.
We're blown away. We're trying to salvage what we can.
These antique dealers pull bits and pieces of their treasures from the rubble. Next door, bulldozers remove fallen cement blocks and other debris as crews scatter along the roof line to repair what was torn to shreds earlier. Across the highway on Nails Creek Road, home after home destroyed.
I was over here in this section where the couch is. The couch and that wall is what saved me, and I crawled out from the back, and he was stuck in the corner there. I don't know how I got out, but it happened so quick.
Despite the damage, many say they're just thankful it wasn't worse. 8 people were injured. Authorities tell us none of them serious.
They were out here within 30 minutes. The whole town was out here within 5 minutes.
It's a little hard to pick out, but right at this point, you can certainly see some rotation developing with this thing. And apparently, at this time, it was moving through the Charlotte area.
You see the sun is still shining.
Yeah, right.
In downtown.
And you know, we were telling people all day long that these things usually come at the end of the storm, and that's exactly what happened here. After the tornado moved through, that was pretty much the end of it. It's at the back edge of these thunderstorms. Now we're beginning to really see the rotation and some of the debris churning around. Winds are picking up real rapidly. Yeah, we probably, had winds in the vicinity of 150 miles an hour with this storm system. And some of the audio running there, some of the words you hear may not be too polite here. At this point, I think all of us were sort of shifting gears from trying to get the story to trying to make sure that we weren't going to get blown away here because this thing just didn't really seem like it was going to stop. The whole time that elapsed in this whole thing was probably less than 3 or 4 minutes here. I mean, these things come up very quickly. Get in! Yeah, let's listen to this.
Power went out just then. I'm still rolling too. There's the bus that was trapped underneath that railroad.
Yeah. Nobody injured in that.
No.
We had a wire. I think they thought there was a wire, an electrical wire on that bus, but it turned out not to be a problem. You know, that's something to keep in mind too, is that anytime you're in an area with down wires of any kind, be extremely cautious because you don't know whether they're cable or telephone or they could be electrical wires, and you just got to be real cautious with that stuff. There goes a barrel or a trash can blowing away. Oh.
Yeah, I think that's about the end of that tape. We have some more tape. Our picture will be disrupted now as we switch back to our live camera. Again, we want to stress that the kids in school were held in school, and that was probably the wise thing to do because of the storm.
You know, another point of this whole thing, communications channels are really strained. Cell phones more than likely are not going to work. Don't be too frustrated when you have this kind of high volume of calls. As you found out when we had the Rivergate tornado a number of years ago, cell phones become almost unusable. A lot of conventional phone lines in the downtown area are still working.
That's amazing, really. Yeah. We were able to get out.
Right, kind of an interesting story. The last thing my wife saw was the picture on Skycam of the tornado, and then she saw nothing else. And after we finally figured out what our game plan was going to be, the first thing I did was go back to the weather center, and our weather computer is operated on a standby power system, and it still had the light of the screen, you know, because everything was pitch dark, and I could see by the light of the computer screen to dial the phone, and the phone was live, and so I called her at home, and of course, needless to say, she was glad to hear that we were all okay, because that was a very ominous-looking last few seconds we were on the air, as you saw that Skycam picture of those clouds coming right this way.
I understand that Dirk, they are trying to get that Skycam video here, are they not? Yeah. Okay. Dirk will be checking up on that.
We have some amazing video that I'm sure will make the national news from Skycam.
Oh, I'm sure it will.
Right
our picture's disrupted for just a moment. Now we're putting up more videotape. Now Ron, describe this scene again from the back of the station from another photographer.
Yeah, churning, boiling, low-hanging cloud. You know, a typical wall cloud. Don't know if there's much sound with this. We can't hear too well out here.
Somebody open that door right there so we can run in there.
And there you see that this actually is a tornado, probably somewhere in the vicinity of a half-mile wide. A lot of lightning strikes.
All right.
Notice right at the moment, there's not a whole lot of stuff falling from the sky. Not a lot of rain.
And so, and the tourists, we're out there looking at it like we shouldn't be.
Yeah, and now we're beginning, some of the folks out here are beginning to get the idea that maybe this is not a good place for sightseeing. I think
I'll open it, Mike. Go ahead.
Okay, we've got another tornado headed toward us. Okay, so we have another possible tornado with this cell that's coming through right now. We're getting a lot of thunder and lightning up here again, and the rain is beginning to pick up here at Brick Church Pike. We're just between I-24 and 65 North.
We're going to interrupt our pictures. We can go back live. What direction is it coming in? Can we?
Probably would be from the southwest, which would be the direction that we're not facing.
Why don't we?
The northeast.
Can we switch around? Can you follow us over there? Can we?
Not much light.
Well, can we switch around? If it's coming in from this area, because I see the cloud is a lot darker back here. Ron, back up in this area. Yeah. I don't see any wall cloud. I don't see anything typical of a
typical springtime thunderstorm right now. But of course, as we've seen all afternoon long, what happens is this stuff goes by, and then on the flanking edge, the southwestern edge of this, is where the tornado is most likely to develop. So a typical scenario would be to get all this lightning and heavy rain, some hail. It looks like the storm's going to let up, and then here comes the tornado. So just because there's nothing going on right now here doesn't mean that there won't be. If you had looked out the loading dock at Channel 5 10 minutes before it happened, you wouldn't have known anything was going to happen there other than the sky was black to the west. So
right. That's right, and then it moved in so fast. In fact, when we were looking at it on Skycam, it was going to the north of Nashville and seemed to be tracking northeast, and then all of a sudden it just moved in very fast. Is that typical of these things?
Well, you got a rotation there, a small-scale low-pressure center in the thunderstorm that may be several miles across, and exactly where that tornado is going to drop. You know, you got this big swirling mass of air. The tornado might be over here, or it might be 2 miles down the road. It's not real precise within that whole rotation, you see.
Oh, I see, yeah.
So we're never going to be able to narrow it down to a block or something like that.
We're still getting a lot of lightning hits out here now, and it seems to be picking up just a little bit right now. You know any more about that? You want to find out more about that strike? Or you have more? Oh, it was probably nothing more to. Well, Ron's going to check on that and see. Ron's going to check on that and see who are we talking to here.
A report of another tornado from a policeman headed toward Williamson County.
Headed towards Nashville from Williamson, is that right, Dennis?
You're listening to a live radio transmission from our dispatch desk to reporters in the field, and that's where we're getting our
11 to base 2.
reports from.
Go ahead, 11. Yes, I'm on my way in. I'm downtown in this gridlock, but I picked up a passenger on the way.
Well, we'll find out about that. Ron's checking on that. Again, for those of you who may be just tuning in, let me kind of recap, because we've been off the air for a while, and I know you probably have been watching other stations because that's where the information was while we were off the air. Channel 5 was knocked off the air by the tornado which blew over downtown Nashville, knocking out power to our station. We moved quickly to our transmitter site off Brick Church Pike, where we're broadcasting now live. News Channel 5 consists now of one camera which has a videotape attached to it, and that's what we're using for the entire station right now. So it won't be the smoothest television you've seen, but you'll see some fantastic pictures of the storm and hear some eyewitness accounts of it as well. Right now, there's more severe weather moving into the south. This is from Williamson County into this area, another cell coming in. Our meteorologist, Ron House, is checking up on that as best he can from inside our transmitter building right now. And we have some more information, do we, Tawana? Come on in and just tell us what would you...
An update of what's going on. The fire department on 2nd Avenue apparently was hit. Davidson County tornado warning until 6:35. And apparently St. Anne's Episcopal was destroyed. We got word about that also. Flash flood warning.
Is destroyed the right word there, or just damaged, or do you know?
According to the reports, it was pretty much destroyed, not just damaged. There was damage to the stadium, a little bit to the Capitol. Flash flood warning for the most of the metro area. That's what we know at this time.
Okay, well, Ron House is, as I say, our meteorologist is inside trying to find out more, and he'll have that information coming up. Yeah, we're getting a more rain. I don't know if you can see it back in this area or not, but that's where it's coming from right now, and the rain is getting a little bit heavier out here as the storm moves in. As Ron said, there was a line of storms from Bowling Green, Kentucky, through the Williamson County area, moving into the Nashville area, and that would be the last bit of bad weather, dangerous weather that we'll have once that gets through our area. Here comes Ron now with hopefully more information about what we're facing here. Ron?
Well, this is another one of those large cells, Chris, that you can see the evidence of here. Right now we're getting very heavy rain and a lot of thunder and lightning. No hail yet here. But this storm moved out of Cheatham County and is moving across northern Davidson County. So we have a tornado warning for northern Davidson until 6:35. Also tornado warnings for Sumner and for northern Wilson County. So there's a whole cluster of thunderstorms here moving through the Nashville metro area. Other cells in southwest Middle Tennessee, down in parts of Murray and Lawrence and Wayne County down in that area. So these should be about the last big clusters to go through. But we're certainly not going to let our guard down yet on this one.
Now, if you're in a safe place, stay in a safe place. Don't try to move anywhere, I guess,
And the tornado safety rules, we all follow those at News Channel 5. Go to a basement if you have one. If you don't have a basement, a small room near the interior of your home on the first floor, like a closet or a bathroom.
A funnel cloud spotted on... this is Chris, and you're on the air. I understand we have a funnel cloud spotted at Main Street and James Robertson. Can you tell me about that? You're on the air.
Chris, we're not sure. Hope Hines is here, and we're down at Main Street and James Robertson Parkway. Hope, tell us what we saw there.
Chris, we're looking north now, out toward Rivergate, and we see smoke. Looks like lightning may have struck something out toward Dickerson Road or out that way. Sirens in the background you can hear trying to make their way out there. At first we thought it was another funnel. Getting ready to touch down, but now we believe it's smoke, so it appears that lightning may have struck something. That's what it appears to be from here.
Okay, anything else to add from there? Anything you can see there that we ought to know about out here? Well, we just took a hit. We just took a lightning hit, folks. So I guess we're still on the air. Yeah, we're still on the air. We just took a lightning hit that knocked out our power, but we have generators out here.
We're getting down to our last resources.
We are. I think we're on generator power. I think I heard the generator click in. It made a horrible sound when it hit.
I think we're probably on a diesel generator now. Which
okay. Everybody's okay in the transmitter. Just
we have a 1,500-foot lightning rod here above our heads too, which is kind of interesting.
We're several miles away from it, so we have no idea what it is.
That's the smoke again they're seeing. That's the smoke again I think you're seeing. Is that correct? Yeah,
yes, this is Dana Kay again, Chris. We do think it's smoke and not a funnel cloud right now. I can tell you that there have been some injuries at a couple of schools. Cora Howell Elementary, there were some injuries there, but we talked to a bus driver who was taking some children home just a few moments ago, and she said that all of the children are fine. All of the children are fine.
Good news.
And she's wanting parents to know she's driving them home right now and everything's going to be okay. I think that's one thing. Worried parents are trying to get to the schools to pick up their children, and it's almost impossible to get anywhere from one side of town to the other because you can't get through downtown Nashville. We have also seen several ambulances. You had asked about injuries earlier. We've seen at least 5 or 6 ambulances in the last hour. So apparently there have been some injuries, but we haven't, of course, been able to talk to anyone or actually see it with our own eyes at this point, except the...
Take another hit. Okay, we just took another hit. Dana, hang on because Ron has a question for you.
The traffic situation is very chaotic, as you've outlined. Now, when we have an ambulance or something like that trying to get through, are they able to move through, or is the traffic just a complete standstill, gridlock?
Ron, luckily, people are trying to pull over to the side and let the ambulances through. Plus, I can tell you, they called in every police officer, every off-duty police officer has been called in. I've also seen some National Guard troops around. So it looks like that we do have enough help. Of course, I've also seen cars disobeying the police when they're trying to reroute them away from certain areas that they've closed down. So you don't want to do that. But luckily, so far, what I've seen, the ambulances have been able to get through. But that's a good thing to remind everybody to please, if you see an ambulance, let them through.
Okay, Dana Kay, thanks for that report. And if you get anything else, let us know. During the ice storm, we were on diesel power here at our transmitter for, what, a week or something like that?
It was 4 or 5 days.
4 or 5 days anyway. So yeah. I think we're on the air now for good. Here, and depending on our reporters to let us know what's going on.
It sounds, Chris, like there is some sense of panic, going on in the downtown Nashville area. Some people are really concerned, trying to get in or out, and of course that's the worst possible thing. I don't know how you tell people not to panic, but that's pretty much where it sounds like our major problems are now, is people just really trying to force their way into an area where we don't need any other folks, and just stay away from the downtown area is certainly the best advice.
I guess what people really want to know is how bad is the damage, and I think in a situation like this it'd be foolhardy to even try to assess that at this point. Right now we're just figuratively putting out fires, trying to figure out what's what and what buildings are damaged on a one-by-one basis. It'll take a while to assess this whole situation.
I understand you probably talked about it already, but there was some damage to the stadium construction, which was right in the path. That some of the scaffolding and the cranes are down, and some of the forms that they used to pour the concrete, a lot of that has been really severely damaged. So no doubt that's going to set the project back. It's sort of hard to assess the damage. When I walked out after this thing was over, I guess my first thought was it could have been worse.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds funny because looking at the pictures we've seen, and certainly the Skycam pictures that we've seen, I thought, oh my goodness, is there going to be anything left out there? And when we came outside, there's some areas of severe damage, no question about it. But it's nothing, and the only thing I can say is, having come from that area, we can assure you that it looks nothing like Gerald, Texas, or Birmingham, or Orlando, or any of these places where things have just been leveled to the foundation. Do not think for a moment that that's what downtown Nashville looks. If you look at the skyline, the buildings are all there, and we have some rather precarious little signs falling and awnings and things like that. A lot of car damage. you know, trees, power lines down, those kind of things. But
not
it's
the
not
flattened terrain.
devastation.
Yeah,
No,
it's not the devastation. So don't anybody think it is the devastation, but it's bad enough.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
yeah.
this is going to be
in the millions of dollars, no question about that.
No questions about that.
But it's not a total devastation thing, and this tornado was nowhere near the strength of the one that moved through the Birmingham area. Just no comparison.
Now, we might want to remind everybody the governor has declared Nashville a state of emergency area. State troopers have been called into the downtown Nashville area. All off-duty Metro policemen have been called in, and everybody is working this. Dana Kay reported a few moments ago she's seen some National Guard activity, although we have not gotten any word that the National Guard has been activated for this at this point. That's just sightings by Dana Kay. The NES building has been damaged. They're having a hard time apparently getting their crews out. There's a building down near First and Broad, we understand, at this point in time. So there is considerable damage, but not the flattened terrain that we have seen all too recently.
And let's recap the injuries. We've heard about, what, 5 injuries so far?
Five? Of 100 people having a picnic in Centennial Park, we've heard 4 injuries there.
Oh, that's amazing.
So
yeah,
that is amazing. Because this came fairly fast. If you were outside enjoying a picnic, you really thought this was just a rainstorm.
But we've seen the pictures outside of Channel 5, and would you want to be outside with all that stuff churning around?
No.
I mean, that's the single most important advice that we always have to give people. If a tornado is headed toward you, or even if it's one of these dark, black, really scary looking clouds, the best thing to do is to get inside. Don't stand out there and look at it like some of our photographers. We got their pictures, but even they, you know, photographers, as risk-taking as they are, what did they do when it really got bad? The garage door came down and they got inside.
That's
so,
right. They knew when to get inside, and they had Dirk holding. Dirk's a pretty big fella, and he was holding one photographer by the belt, holding him down to the ground. So we just had a lightning strike in back of us. So
the storm seems to be letting up, Chris, but again, you know, as we've seen over and over again, that can be a danger sign. So we're going to continue to kind of look back over our shoulders here to the southwest and make sure that we're not going to have a close encounter with a tornado twice in one day.
No, it was close enough for me, and I was in the basement of the building at the time.
You know, this has really been an incredible day. Of course, we talked about the good possibility of severe storms last night, and they developed in the early morning hours. Of course, I guess everybody knows by now that over in Arkansas, some tragic tornado activity there, doing some damage and some deaths over around the Jonesboro area. In Dyer County this morning, in Dyersburg, 2 people were killed. Then the storm moved into Dixon County, and all day long we were looking at some of that damage in Dixon County. Then we had another wave of storms come through, and then yet another, and then of course the one that did all the damage downtown about 3:25. Now we have more tornado-producing thunderstorms moving through. One for Davidson County until 6:35, another 15 minutes. A tornado warning, also tornado warnings for Sumner and northern Wilson County, and the activity continues. So this is one of those days that a lot of people in Nashville are going to remember for a long time. And certainly the folks who cover the weather are going to remember it for a long time. This doesn't happen very often. Incidentally, Chris, this is the 3rd deadliest year for tornadoes ever in the nation's history. So fortunately, from what we're hearing so far, we haven't added to those statistics as of yet. We haven't heard any reports of that. But with the path of this tornado right through a major downtown area, we are just extremely lucky and blessed not to have had more injuries than we've had with this.
You know, I think the warnings were clearly the difference. The governor has ordered all downtown state offices closed tomorrow in Nashville. These warnings in Gallatin and Bethpage, are they tornado?
Yeah, those are tornado
warnings.
warnings.
They've expired by now. Okay. So I guess that's down. Downtown is closed, of course, to incoming traffic. We've told you about that. Again, we're broadcasting from our transmitter site off Brick Church Pike because we can't get out from downtown Nashville where our station is located. The power is out there, and if they're watching on portable televisions, we really want to have that Skycam videotape they've ever been able to get it out of the videotape machine to show you.
Well, that was another part of this whole thing. We were in the dark, no power. The building has very few exterior, very few windows even, so it was running around in the dark. At least up here we can see what we're doing. And it's going to be a while before we can restore communication with downtown, so we don't know how long we're going to be in this mode.
We were talking about being in the basement of the building, Ron, when this thing passed over. A lot of us felt the pressure change in our ears, and our ears popped.
Right.
You did too. Is that typical of this happening? Would that have been the time when the tornado was just right over us?
Absolutely. That was the time when the suction was the greatest. And you know, in these pictures, you always see the swirl of clouds, but what isn't clear in the picture is the terrific upward movement of the air. These things develop, you know, this low-hanging cloud that we've been talking about, the wall cloud, develops in an updraft. And in that updraft is where the tornado forms, and so everything is moving up, and it's really drastically lowering the pressure. Most of the cars that were damaged right in our parking lot, the windows were out, and what happens there is the window, the glass, if you look carefully, some of it fell in the car, but a lot of it was outside the car. The windows actually explode because the pressure in the car becomes a lot higher than the pressure outside, okay, as that tornado moves across. So the same thing that made your ears pop caused enough pressure to blow the windows out of a car. And that's a pretty good explanation of why you felt that sensation.
I know we have people who are tuning in now and who have been watching other stations because we've been off the air. I want to try to get some videotape, if we can, Clifton, to roll some of that videotape of the storm coming through, and let you narrate it, Ron, because this is really typical of tornadoes when they come through.
Well, it really is. It's the classic kind of thing.
In fact, you and Joe were talking about the wall cloud earlier as it started coming through, and I wasn't quite sure what that was at the time, but then you all started explaining it. It was pretty dramatic right over downtown Nashville.
Yeah, we'll have those sky cam pictures hopefully later on this afternoon or this evening. But it was a very classic looking.
Now our picture is interrupted while we switch over to the video, so don't leave your TV sets. That's just, here we go, Ron. This was taken out back of News Channel 5.
Again, what you see is a low overhanging cloud. We had a lot of people see one of these kind of clouds in Brentwood and South Nashville earlier this morning, and it did not drop a tornado. It moved over the Hickory Hollow area. So just to say that you see one of these does not necessarily mean there's going to be a tornado. But oftentimes they drop a tornado without warning, and that's exactly what happened in downtown Nashville. I mean, we've been tracking this thing, putting out tornado warnings. We knew that we had this circulation, so it could produce a tornado at any time, and certainly at this point it did. It was moving through the Charlotte area at this time, probably moving in from Centennial Park. And now you begin to see things really swirling around.
Again, people are using language here that you wouldn't normally hear, but this was a pretty scary, a very scary situation.
The forward speed on this thing was about 45 miles an hour. Yeah. I mean, you know, this thing just clipped right on through the downtown area. This is, again, obviously this is real time. This is how long it took for this thing to approach. I mean, you're talking about the weather going from just a big dark cloud to a tornado here in just a matter of just a few minutes. So, you know, that's another thing we always urge people to do is take action now. You know, don't wait when that kind of cloud comes in. Don't wait to see what happens. Hit the deck.
The storm is now moving really right through it. And look, you can see some clear sky on the other end of this.
Yeah, this is pretty typical too. They form on the southwest, the back end of the storm. There you see a trash can or a barrel moving around.
Now this is our photographer. The electricity went out at the station at that point. Our photographer is laying down now, and Dirk's on top of him, to keep him from blowing away. And this is pretty wild.
Yeah, he really felt the sensation of being sucked out that door.
Yeah. Which, again, I mean, people tend to wait till they see this tornado-like cloud really move inside. Again, it's too late. We're looking back over our shoulders. I don't see anything.
Are we paranoid?
I think so.
Maybe, yeah.
I think so. Is this? Can you tell from this? Is the worst over? Begin to be over this one?
Yeah, it appears that you know there still could be some circulation touching the ground, but this thing was not on the ground too awfully long. The damage path might have been, maybe 10 miles long. I'm guessing at the longest. So, you know, in the whole scheme of things, again, we've tracked storms all day long, all night long, and all day long. And only a very small fraction of them produced any tornadoes, but when they do, look out. And this is an example. The old wives' tale is that tornadoes never strike downtown areas, and they never strike on hills. Well, we just came from the downtown area, and now we're standing on a hill. So
let's hope we're half right about the old wives' tales at any rate. I think they tried to go back out to tape some more, and the wind picked up again, and then they decided it was the better part of valor was discretion, and they came back in. This is out the back door again, where there was a lot of damage.
Some sense of damage. You see, all those cars are in place out there. Now, that wasn't the case all over downtown Nashville, but certainly where some of the worst tornado activity moved through, those cars have the windows blown out, a lot of them, but they're not really rearranged. And tornadoes like the force of the one in Birmingham, those cars would have been up against the railroad tracks, or up on top of another. You've seen the pictures from down there.
Sure.
So that's one of the things we were asking one of our reporters earlier about, whether there was any evidence of cars being blown through the air, because when you start seeing that, then you're talking about incredible damage. And we did have some reports of that, of cars being moved around, but it was not common. It didn't occur everywhere in the damage path.
Right. Again, we're just we ought to step over here. This is really it's easier for us to move than to have the camera move because of the situation that we're in right now. Again, we're broadcasting from our tower site, our transmitter site off Brick Church Pike. We can't get anything out of downtown Nashville, so we'll be broadcasting from here for the rest of the night, and we're getting video from downtown there as soon as they can get it out here. It's a long drive, and of course traffic is all tied up at this point, so it's going to be difficult. There's a crew. You know what kind of tape they're bringing us, Dirk?
Bellinger is on the way here.
Okay,
so
we have some crews on the way here with some videotapes of Centennial Park, but no telling when he'll get here because of the traffic situation. Seems to have blown over here, Ron, and without
the wind's picking up now, and this is probably in the updraft area of the storm now. The updraft area, of course, is kind of a dangerous place, so we're going to keep our eye out. But right now, I don't see anything that looks too dangerous up here in the northern end of Nashville, up here off Brick Church Pike. But we could be storm spotters here any minute. I don't know. We can't mention enough, Chris, the idea of just not going into the downtown area. I know people are probably flipping around to different channels trying to get some sense of what's going on. And the most important information about that is just don't try it, because it's a mess there in terms of traffic, gridlock, people trying to get out of town, and there's no point in trying to get in.
Now, again, and let's put this in perspective, this is not a flattened earth tornado. I mean, you aren't going to come in and see all the buildings missing from downtown Nashville. You're not going to see cars all over the place. It just hadn't been that strong, although there's been considerable tree damage and considerable automobile damage, especially to windows. The viaduct, you were telling me earlier, between Church Street Center and the hotel.
Well, that, between the Renaissance Hotel and what used to be the Church Street Center, there's that overhanging walkway. Apparently that's seriously damaged, and some of that stuff could fall. Outside the station, we saw signs that were blown over, wires on the ground. I mean, it's just not a very safe place to be. And of course, the police and the firemen, and I guess the National Guard, and all the authorities are trying to do what they can to put things back together. And the last thing they need is a lot of people standing around getting in the way.
Yeah, we haven't had any official word yet, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if businesses located in the downtown area open very late, if they open at all. Tomorrow is Friday, and they may take this opportunity, depending on the damage assessment and how we get power back to the downtown area, just to have a long weekend so everything can get put back together. It's going to take a while to get the power put back together, apparently, in the downtown area when it goes out.
And we have heard that Trevecca, Nazarene University, and TSU will not have classes tomorrow. Just expect that if you're in the downtown area. If you don't hear otherwise, just expect, I think, that things will not be normal tomorrow. We're kind of in a balance. On one hand, Chris, we need to assure people this doesn't look like Birmingham's tornado, but on the other hand, it's certainly severe enough that tomorrow things are not just going to be back to normal. It's going to take a while, so it's somewhere in the middle.
We're somewhere in the middle there, so just stay tuned to this station, of course, and we'll bring you details as we get them. And right now, we had tornadoes in other areas today besides Nashville. You want to just kind of brief us on what you know about what happened in those areas, Ron?
So far, when last I checked, we haven't had any reports of any major damage other than Dixon County we talked about earlier in the day, and this tornado in downtown Nashville. Now, that could be outdated information right now, but it does not appear that out of all these strong thunderstorms that we had widespread damage, that it was very spotty and only in a few areas. As it turned out, it looks like the worst damage is going to be in the most populated area, but it has not been too bad a day in terms of, lots of people injured. The last total I heard was 100 people injured. We had the 2 deaths over in Dyer County very early this morning in a tornado in Dyersburg. And that's a fortunate thing too when we talk about the fact that we were spared apparently any huge numbers of injuries or deaths with this. We're still, of course, going to have to update that. There's probably a lot of information that will be coming in, but at least preliminarily, it looks like this has not been a major injury tornado. One of the reasons, not only the warnings that were going forth all day long, but of course the fact that it occurred during the daytime when people were very aware of what was going on. They were looking out their office windows, their school windows, or whatever. And the real problem that we have with tornado warnings are those ones that come in the middle of the night. That was the problem with Dyer, Tennessee earlier. In the middle of the night, people are just not aware of what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. We have a report from Mark Drury. Mark, you're on the air. Tell us where you are and what you're seeing.
Chris, I'm over in East Nashville with photographer Phil Cantor, and to be honest with you, it looks like a war zone over here. We've got large trees uprooted and power lines down all over the place. Trying to navigate through East Nashville is a nightmare right now because so many streets are blocked by either down power lines or down trees, some major large trees. I don't know if you can hear right now, but we've got public works crews with chainsaws over here, and they're trying to clear out some of these streets, but they're going to have a major job ahead of them, not just over the next 24 hours, but probably longer than that.
Mark, what about the houses? We've seen the videos from the Birmingham tornado where the whole neighborhoods are just flattened. We're not talking flattened earth kind of tornado damage here, are we?
No, we've got over here in this part of town a lot of older homes, a lot of pretty strong structures, but we do have a lot of damage. We've got trees laying over on houses. We've got porches knocked off. We've got windows caved in. And one of the big problems is there's just no power over here. People are, looking to move out to find other places because they don't have much power, and a lot of gas leaks have made for a dangerous situation.
So we do have some natural gas leaks as well as down power lines and trees. What about traffic? Mark, you've been out moving around in it. I know they're not letting people into the downtown area, but those that are already in the downtown area, how are they able to move around?
It's really difficult because so many streets are blocked off that people are trying to basically snake their way through East Nashville, at least using back roads. And what's really surprising us is the amount of traffic that is out right now. I would hate to think that a lot of people are getting out in their cars just to look around, but certainly if anybody's doing that, we would definitely want to discourage it because traffic is really backed up just about everywhere you turn.
Okay, Mark Drury in East Nashville. We can hear the chainsaws going as they try to clear the trees. Thanks for that report, Mark. Ron is here.
One of the problems that continues to occur, of course, not only we've mentioned the huge number of cars trying to get in and out of town, but no traffic lights work, something to consider.
Right.
There's no gas or there's no electricity anywhere in the downtown area. Obviously, no gas stations are running. So right there in that immediate core area, we got all kinds of problems. Some of the traffic lights not only don't have power, some of the ones that hang, from the wires, they're gone.
Yeah.
The tornado has blown them away. So we're going to have major traffic problems for several days as we try to contend with all of those kind of things.
We've seen the storm as it came through the Channel 5 area. You had a chance to look. Hang on a second.
We have Dana Kay with a special report from
Kroger,
and she'll tell you where it is.
Dana Kay, you're on the air. Go ahead and tell us where you are and what you have to report.
Chris, we're at the Kroger on Gallatin Road, and there's a woman in labor here. She's couldn't get to the hospital because of all the traffic and the problems. So at this point, the police have taken her out the back car where they had her for a while. She's just sitting on the side of the road. Hold on.
Al, can you hear me?
Okay, we've got other traffic trying to get through. A woman in labor. We got other traffic trying to get through, and she told us to hold on there. Mark Bellinger has just come in, and you have some tape So we're losing our picture now as we switch over to the video portion. As we say, we're broadcasting now live from our transmitter site. And so, Mark, tell us what this is.
Chris, this is on Charlotte Pike near 21st Avenue, where there was an automotive center that was just completely crushed. It was it ripped apart, and you see some folks actually taking part of it out of the street here. Chaos here. There are officers flying everywhere to, I think at this point, to Centennial Park, where we had people injured, and we weren't sure at that point, as you said earlier, how many people were injured there. And there's some video again of, I think that's a roof of the automotive center. And now here's some sound, I think, from one of the guys.
You spoke for a few minutes. Well, I don't think we have the sound, but do we?
That way, from the west, couldn't really see it touch down because it was on the other side of the church, but you could feel the wind and the rain from it. And all of a sudden, we taken refuge over in Crystal, and it hit.
What's your name?
Larry J. Cox.
Are you owner of the building?
Yeah.
Everybody okay?
Yeah, everybody fine. We all got out. Thank the Lord.
Yeah, don't kill you.
That's all it is. A blessing.
Long living though. Tell me about what it was like when you were in there.
Oh man, I really can't describe it, but it was just big wind, man. I tried to run, I couldn't go nowhere.
Look at that. That's what you were in.
I was in there right there. I hid up under the door and a bunch of tires that we had stacked up and prayed.